I mean, I'm not gonna humor you. I'm sorry. I can make the argument if it's 10 men, the one that would actually be successful in harming my children, if it's a trip from point A to B to get my kids in a secure location, would be women. And I'm gonna tell you why. Depending on the level of seduction between point A and B that these women are able to render to these 10 men, they can demobilize these men, strip them of the defenses based off of sexual seduction, and have access to my children across them. But if it's 10 men, 10 men are gonna look at 10 men riding in the truck.
Come on, you gotta laugh at that bullshit.
10 men.
Who do you think out of the two groups, who has more integrity? Because that's what cheating is kind of rooted in. It's all about integrity, right? So who has more integrity? Who do you trust more?
When it comes to faithfulness?
Anything. To be honest with you, when you think about it, anything,
in general,
it really don't even matter.
Well, I mean, I trust my wife, but I mean, if you're saying who do you trust more? We're talking about men or women to do what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
Who do I trust more to do what they're supposed to do? I would say men. Men are more logical. Men are more.
You think men are more logical?
Matter of fact, yeah, I think men are more logical, and I think women are more emotional.
Got you. So what is your most? Would you say that the most important thing in your life, most important things in your life, I would say, I don't mean in that way, but the most important things in your life are your children?
The most important things in my life is my children? No.
No? What is it?
The most important thing to me in my life is my wife. Well, first of all, it's my purpose, then it's my wife, then it's my children.
Okay. So, but your children are very important to you.
Yeah. Okay. But there's an order of importance.
I got you. I got you. Okay. So your children are very important to you, though. Okay. If you had to leave your children in the care of somebody that you don't know, and the only thing you have to base this on is the gender of the person, they're relatively the same age, they look about the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like one is slovenly, like they're both in business. I don't care. Whatever you want to say, they both look the same, relatively speaking, right? There's two average people, a man or a woman around the same age. Who would you feel most comfortable leaving your child?
Well, if it is a matter of nurturing, it is the woman.
No. Just one night. Just one night. You gotta look. Look, I'll make it even more interesting because I've done this before too. There's a room, there's 10 men in a room, there's 10 women in a room. You got to leave your kid in one of these rooms for one night. You got to. For whatever reason, I don't care. Whatever aliens, I don't give a fuck.
I'll leave it with the woman. I will leave it with the woman. Some women
and why is that? Yeah, no, not because they're more nurturing. Well, nurturing is my reason. Yeah,
they're more careful with children than men.
Okay, they're more trustworthy with children.
So you could say that.
Yeah. So how can it be that with some, the two of the people that are the most important people in your life, your children, you are most comfortable leaving them with women? You tell me that you trust men more than you trust women, though.
Well, in that case, then yeah, you got a good position on me. But if it was for me to leave my kids with 10 men that were responsible from getting them out of harm's way across some type of valley or something into a secure location in the midst of destruction, then I would trust the 10 men.
So you think so? Okay, but this is why that logic doesn't work, because if what do you think nurturing means?
What do I think nurturing means? Being able to care for a child or care of a child, right? Care, period. Being able to render some type of care, emotional support, psychological support. You can call it protection. Yeah.
Definitely protection would be a part of that.
Yeah, you can call it that.
So women are more nurturing than men, meaning women protect children better than men do. And women care about children more than men do. They pay attention to the needs more than men do. So why would you trust 10 men to get your baby anywhere versus 10 women?
Because men are able to fight off violence, defend against threats,
What?
more often and more effective than women in
And
that
what would be
scenario.
and what would be the most common threat
What would be the most common threat?
to a child? Mhm.
I would say other men or other
Man,
men
okay,
for the most part, but women can
exactly.
be a threat too. But
It
more
can
men
be,
are
but more than likely, it's
more
gonna be.
overpowering. So biologically, men.
Well, it's not because we're more powerful, but so that brings me to my point. So
You
if
don't like to
men,
use power. You don't like to associate powerful with men.
no, it's not because we're more powerful. It's because we're more prone to abuse. We're more prone to abusing people.
We have the strength. We can do more
No, we have
damage.
to. No. We have the desire to. We have the desire to.
You don't think men have the more power than women
That's
biologically?
not what I'm saying. It's the reason why men harm children more than women do has nothing to do with us being stronger. Has everything to do with our desire to harm children.
I'm not trying to argue who harms one the most. I'm just
I am.
arguing, given the scenario, if it's if they're just sitting there watching the kids, yeah, let a group of women sit there and put on fucking Miss Rachel and all that or whatever, or give them some juices and stuff and take care of them for a matter of hours. But if it's for me to have my child or my children protected,
Yeah.
I would want male presence there.
What is the most likely scenario? Who is most likely to harm your kid if you're same scenario, 10 men helping your kid get across anywhere they need to get across to? Who is most likely to harm that child?
Who is most likely to harm that child? If it's a 10 men, I would say that the likelihood of anyone, man or woman, being able to harm those kids, it goes to almost zero. But if it's a
What?
group of women,
No.
and
Wait. But that's not right though, Darwin. The likelihood, the most likely scenario isn't that your baby's going to be harmed by some outside force. It's most likely that they're going to be harmed by the men in the group, statistically.
I could make the argument, and I'm gonna humor you. I mean, I'm not gonna humor you. I'm sorry. I can make the argument if it's 10 men, the one that would actually be successful in harming my children, if it's a trip from point A to B to get my kids in a secure location, would be women. And I'm gonna tell you why. Depending on the level of seduction between point A and B that these women are able to render to these 10 men, they can demobilize these men, strip them of the defenses based off of sexual seduction, and have access to my children to cause that. But if it's 10 men, 10 men are gonna look at 10 men riding in the truck.
Come on, you gotta laugh at that bullshit.
10 men are gonna look.
That nigga said that. Hey,
Telling you, bro.
Come on, man. You know, get it.
Come on, man. You can't see that. You can't see that.
No.
You can't see a mile away 10 women with some Daisy Dukes. Hey, let me wash your car. And those 10 men like, hold on, man.
Come on, man.
Slow down. We got a few minutes. Man. Come on, man.
Nah, we ended it on that one. That's crazy.
We got to end it on that one.
It done got ridiculous now with it. Say the women.
We got to end it on that one.
Mobilize the men with their coochies. I'm done. You got it.
You got it. It's a game, bro. It's an evil game, bro.
Nah, man. That's wicked. That's wicked work, man. But hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on, man. We rocked out for 2 hours. It was good.
Yeah, man. I gave you 2 hours, and you know what? It didn't even get to disrespect. You see that 2 men can come in with 2 different positions and have a useful conversation, even though we don't agree on a lot of things. We still got love for each other as brothers, right?
Hey man, it never got to get to disrespectful with me. As long as people don't disrespect me, I don't disrespect them.
And you know I ain't even that type of guy to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I do want to ask you about a brother that came on my panel last night. I noticed you had a lot of anger against people coming for Dr. Cheyenne Bryan about her credentials, and I think you spoke
not
on
anger, but
well, you thought it was unfair for them to do that, and I think it's unfair that you came after Jeff St. James. I don't know if he warranted. I'm just saying. Maybe y'all had a conversation in the past, but I
don't know that man.
That's why I was trying to wonder, like, why do you think he's not? Why do you?
Because I could see through. Because he was lying.
You thought he was lying?
100%.
On what?
If that dude came, if Jeffrey came on here right now, right?
If he came on here right now.
If he came on here right now and tried to talk to me and had those conversations that he was having on them panels, it would be shut down in 2 seconds. Because
okay, I understand now. You just had a disagreement with his position, but you don't internalize it as his credentials are fake or whatever.
No. I don't think I looked him up. He is he's like he has a degree in like biblical therapy or something like that, which is not what he's talking about. That's what I'm saying. That's his credentials has nothing to do with the space he's in. So him throwing that around is disingenuous. The same way people be trying to come after Dr. Cheyenne Bryan and check her credentials. That's what I was saying. I was like, I find it convenient, right? And I went to school with Cheyenne. I knew her since I was in 10th grade. 11th grade. I knew Cheyenne since we grew up in Long Beach, California together. That's my homegirl, right? So a part of it is personal, but in all honesty, it's just hypocritical of me.
I don't think he said, I'm not sure. I don't know if he said anything. I don't think he particularly said anything against Dr. Cheyenne Bryan.
He did. No. He didn't. And that's why I said, I just used him as an example. I said, because every time I see him, people talking about he's a therapist. They want to throw around he's a therapist, right? They throw that title around. So is Cheyenne Bryan, right? So my thing is if y'all gonna sit there, the only reason why men was scrutinizing Dr. Cheyenne Bryan is because she was saying things that was challenging the patriarchy. She was backing men down, putting them in a corner and talking shit to them, right? And they don't like that, man. So the Corey Holcombs of the world, they started coming out, oh, that dirty dog-headed B-word and all that, started being disrespectful. And I know you suck dick and you ain't a real doctor, and just trying to discredit her, right? And I said, okay, that's how you feel. I noted it. I did videos on it. I said, that's crazy that y'all doing that, whatever. Then this dude popped up. I didn't even need to check his shit. I knew my wife is a psychologist. She ain't a psychiatrist. She's a psychologist, right? Got her master's. Talking to her, listening to the things that she says, the way that she talks about human behavior, completely different than the way that Jeffrey talks about it. He talks about it like an uneducated human being. But then he says that he's a therapist, which gives what he's saying, at least on the surface, validity. And that is not good. We cannot have people using their titles to validate toxic behaviors and toxic ideologies like the ones he perpetuates. So that's when I called him out. But then I just made the comparison between the two and was like, look, if y'all gonna talk cash money shit about Dr. Cheyenne Bryan, why don't y'all check this man's credentials? Because if you do, I guarantee you he got less credentials than her. And he get to call himself a therapist, and he get to tout himself as a professional in the space just because he's saying the things that men agree with.
Is he licensed? Hasn't he licensed as a therapist?
I don't know. I just know. I know that I think he might be. I don't know. I went to his.
So let's just say he is. I think he is. He said he is. I think it's on his site or whatever. Let's just say he's a licensed therapist.
Okay.
Because of his degree, does it restrict him from speaking? First of all, I mean, we got freedom of speech, right? And it's subjective to whoever wants to call it toxic or not toxic, depending on the targeted audience. It may be for a specific audience. But we can agree that if you do have a license, you can practice therapy. You don't have to bottleneck yourself into the biblical side of it. You can just become a therapist for all people who need therapy, right? Yeah, you don't turn away people at your door. If it's not about the Bible, you got to go somewhere else. Anybody can come in and needs therapy.
Yeah, but that's not my argument at all. I don't mind him being a therapist, but he needs to stay in his lane. His lane is not. I'm saying all I'm saying is if you are going to use your title, you're going to use your education as a way to validate what you're saying, then your education should have something to do with the thing you're talking about. And his education has nothing to do with the things he's talking about. He's just talking. He's just a talking head. And that's fine. Just like you and me. Neither one of us are licensed. We talking. My point is, his opinion and his perspective is no more or less valid than yours or mine, right? But
I don't think he tried to hype him, but I don't think he tried to elevate himself higher than any said person to warrant such.
Of course he does. And that's what other people do. And it may not even be him. But I'm saying whenever people make these thumbnails and whatever's, if they're going to put in there therapist Jeffrey da 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 da, and okay, cool. So I'm listening to him. I'm like, okay, so he has the credentials, and then I look at it. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is just regurgitating misogynistic talking points, and he can't substantiate any of these claims, right? I know that, but most men don't, and most men don't care to know that. So, but they get to go around now and say a licensed therapist was online saying thus. That's what I'm saying, and that's dangerous. That's something that I can't rock with. I'm not cool with that. So
and I understand you can't rock with it. And I think what you just did would just showcase that it's for a specific audience. It's not for everybody. I think his targeted audience is maybe his lane is men's issue, and I think that's the very thing he talks about.
No. That's disingenuous though. I care about men. I care about men more than any red pill man on this app. I genuinely care about men. I do. And you can tell.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that.
No, I know, but this is what I'm saying. I'm saying my target audience is men too. Men don't want to listen. I know that. My target audience is men, though. I know the only way for me to get men to listen to me is to be like Jeffrey and say things that are untrue about men and women. Claims that can't be substantiated, lies about men and women, misconceptions about men and women, right? If I do those things, I can attract.
Are you being completely honest?
Your audience.
Yeah. No, I don't want to. I don't think we gotta go to extreme.
I've been asking anybody in the challenge. We can both get hooked up to a lie detector test. I put it all.
I don't need you to do it, but if I was like, hey, look, PO, what is your demographics on your analytics? Would it be mostly women?
It's mostly women, but that again, my audience. I don't pick my audience though. Like I don't. Y'all do. I don't.
What if I told you? What if I told you from the outside in? When you make content that, even if it's for men, even if you speak to men, trying to get them to do something, or trying to get them to do that, or challenging, or saying, hey, look, or holding them accountable, or anything, that is going to have an indirect effect that you may not even expect. It's actually going to target more women.
Well, I'm not targeting women though.
Well, I'm saying you don't have to. Like, for example, I could speak to women and hold them accountable and say, oh, y'all need to get y'all shit together. Y'all need to get this. Y'all need to do that. And the way the algorithm works is none of the women are going to click on that. They're going to be like, man, fuck that. You need to go talk to the men. Men are going to come watch that because it's a confirming bias. So you don't even know that you may have good intention to target men, but indirectly what's happening is you're actually targeting women to come listen to you.
That's wrong because Kevin Samuel's his largest watchers, if I'm not mistaken, were women. Whether they hate watch them or not, women be on both sides. They don't care. They show up, they watch, they argue, they fight. Women don't be scared to go in spaces and and get dirty, and they not looking for confirmation bias. Men are. That's why men stay away from my platform and platforms like mine. Is because I don't let men get away with shit.
I have access to the information, and I know for a fact that Kevin Samuel's majority of his audience was men.
Really?
Yeah.
How much of it was men?
I would say around 65-70%.
Okay, so
having 40% of women audiences is a flex.
Huge.
It's huge.
No, that's huge. So let's say
if you go over around like 80 or 90, and I'm not trying to call you a panderer, but if you got around 80 to 90% woman audience, you might be borderline. You might have to reevaluate. You might be pandering.
No, I don't though.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the reality is that I love the word pandering because I understand words very well. Like I'm really good with the English language, right? So the whole thing about pandering is you have to be appealing to a person's baser nature by saying things that typically, just to put it bluntly, are lies. You have to perpetuate lies that appeal to people's baser nature. If you are telling the truth about something, if you are actually telling the truth, whether you believe it or not, just FYI, whether you believe it or not, if you are not saying, if the things you are saying are rooted in facts, stats, whatever, history, whatever, right? Whether you believe it or not, it's irrelevant. You're not pandering by definition. The only way for you to pander is for you to say lies, harmful things. You would say things that wouldn't be accepted in what we would call like polite society to appeal to people's baser nature, right? So, me personally, whether you believe I believe the things that I'm saying or not is irrelevant. Can you disprove the things that I'm saying? Can you? Because one thing I notice about my content is I don't get stitched much. I don't have many people. I got tons of videos. I've been on these platforms for 3 years. I don't have many people, many men specifically, taking my videos and bullet point breaking it like the way that I do to their content. They don't do that to my content. They can't like disprove what I'm saying. So if the day that men are able to do that is the day that you can call me a pander. Until then, I call all men. I'll flip that around and say though, if your base is majority male and you're in this space, you're 100% a pander. Because the only way for you to get men to follow you is to lie. You cannot tell the truth. You cannot be honest with men. Men do the same way. Look, and I'll give you a perfect example. The same way that if I were a YT person and I was talking about race, right? The only way for me to have there's a white man on TikTok. His name is Drinkable Brian. Drinkable Brian makes content that challenges white supremacy, to put it bluntly, right? Whether you think Drinkable Brian is pandering or not, his content challenges white supremacy. Also, Drinkable Brian's, if you look at his comment section and whatnot, it is the vast majority of it is filled with black people, right? Does that mean that Drinkable Brian is pandering to black people, or could it be that most white people just so happen to be racist and they don't want to have their worldview challenged? You wouldn't find a bunch of white people following a white man that is challenging racism, right? That makes sense. The same way you're not going to find a bunch of men following a man that's challenging misogyny and challenging the patriarchy. That's what I'm saying. So
I understand what you're saying, but let's say you say you speak to men. Speak to men, it may be a vague term.
Mm-hmm.
Do you speak on behalf? Do you speak to men on behalf of women?
No, I speak to men's issues, and I speak from a perspective of a man, and I speak from a historical perspective.
Let me try to rephrase it. Is it safe to say that you speak to men from the lens or from the reality or from the perspective of your female audience?
No, I speak to men from my perspective as a man.
Okay, so let me say,
if
200 men were sitting in the chat, would they be receptive to the things that you've been saying, or would they be receptive to the things I've been saying?
Sir, it's almost like you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just asking a simple question.
I know, I'm answering, which I already answered. The men would gravitate towards what you're saying because you don't hold men accountable. You excuse the behaviors of men. Of course, they're going to gravitate towards the person that's making their life easier. They don't want to talk to the motherfucker that holds the mirror up in their face.
So whenever I go live, I have the polar opposite of yours. So the same say, I speak to women on behalf of men. I also speak to men in order to get them to level up. But the women do not show up in my chat like yours because I'm actually holding women accountable, so to speak.
But you can't hold women accountable.
So I can't sit here and say my content is for women. You get what I'm saying?
But do you see how just that statement alone, that proves exactly what I'm saying? Because I've ran prompts I'm talking about hours. I've ran this prompt for hours. I did it the other day. What do you want to hold women accountable for? And the reason, and what I'm asking is, when I say that, because the stuff that I talk about starts at the top. Right? I start at the top. I start with systemic oppression, and I just show how it trickles all the way down to our interpersonal relationships, right? So well,
listen, let's try to do this. Let's just be simple. If you put all of your content in a portfolio and you pass it out to 100 men on a scale from 1 to 10, what is the percentage of the men that would want to read that? And
I don't know. Again, this is irrelevant to me. 98% of them will reject it.
I would say 8 to 9 out of 10 women are gonna reject it.
Women or men? Mine?
No, mine's. Women are going to
Yeah,
reject mine.
yeah.
Men are going to reject yours.
Yes.
So we have to understand that even though we are intentionally trying to speak to, you're intentionally trying to speak to men, and I'm intentionally trying to speak to women. The algorithm is not going to show that. The algorithm is going to tell you what your audience is.
But Darwin, why are you trying? That's the thing. This is the thing that always blows my mind about men. Why are you trying to speak to a group of people that you're not a part of? You are a man. Like that. This be the craziest shit about red pill content, right? Because most
Hold on.
red
First
pill
of all,
men,
my content is not red pill.
it is to me.
Okay.
It is rooted in all red pill ideologies. All of it.
We'll see then, and that's fine. I think that your content is on the lines of
Feminist.
pandering to women. But
You
you
can
think
say that,
that
but hold on, wait. I'm not. That's what I'm saying though. Pandering is disrespectful. I don't think me accurately identifying that what you're doing is rooted in misogyny, the pro patriarchy, and red pill ideology is disrespectful. I think it's just a matter of fact. Now, if you want to say that my content on the flip side is rooted in feminism, then you will be correct because it is.
well, if I gave you the definition of pandering, you probably wouldn't think it's respect. If the way I see it.